Caesar Santa. I am here with you. Accordance with titles, yes, today we are roasting Sakshi Jha. And now, here is our topics, and topic is the significance. Well, our topic is the success of Operation Nettie Maria Stephens. Okay? Now it is the feminist sociological operations success is in Spain. And now here we know this Sakshija is a man hater. And now here we can see the points. Sakshija always hate her fathers and her grandfathers and her brother just because they are a man. Okay. And now let's check the moments. And here we are going to notify it. Okay. Now here we can see the points. Okay. Now here we can see the points here. I counted some 1 minute at the moment. Here something like the Bengalis and I have significant problems. Well, and now let's check at the moments, the points. Okay. And now, and now here we can see this points. Well, I am feeling disturbance, and here we can see Tanmay Bhatt tells that. Well, if you are a man hater, how does your dad feel about that? Okay. Now here Sakshi just states that she generally hate her fathers. She has told them that friends, you know why he is. Okay. Now here we can say those points. What is the statements of Sakshidas? The statements of Sakshidas is that, well, she knows that it is her father's, but actually it is a man's. Okay. Because that means Sakshi just hate her father just because Sakshi's father is a man. Now here we can see the points. What about the Samarana statements? And now in these cases, the Samarana statements was that question was what was her grandfather likes, and that means what about the question? The question was what was uh, our honorable Shakshija's grandfather likes, and here we can see. Okay. Now here we can see this moments, and now here we can notify. Here I think I would contents and response. I think I contents have problems, and now here we can see. Let's check it. What is Sakshija's statements? In this case, Sakshija's statements was her grandfather's mindset was women can do nothing. Women have to cook the foods. Women have to do the task at her homes like a housewife. That is the statements. Well, and here's that here Sakshi just always hate her grandfathers. And now here we can see. Well, it is the best time here to discuss about the Operation success of Operation Spanish Nettie Maria Stephens. Okay, now here we can see these points. What's going on? Now here we can see this the moments. Well, here Spain. It is sometimes. Well, Spain is containing the Minister of Science and Innovation like a Diana Morant Ripples. Now, who is Diana Morant Ripples? She is a woman to be here Spanish socialist parties. Well, Spanish socialist parties. And now, let's check at the points. Well. Now, here is the questions. The question was, how many scientists works in Spanish Grace Space Research Centers? Okay. Now, in these cases, here Spanish research centers contains here 168 staff members in the Institute of Space Science ICE, and now in INTA National Institute of Aerospace Technologies that contains almost 700 staffs. Okay, now let's focus on ICE. Okay, now well, we can see it probably it can be stated that there would be women's okay, 168 scientists are women in ICE from Barcelona of the space Spanish space research. And now, in these cases, here is the moments that is the significant disturbance as we could see. Well, okay, now let's check at the moments. Well, now here is the moments why Sakshi hates her grandfather's grandsons. We don't know. Well, Sakshi is her grandfather's only granddaughters, and Sakshi are three granddaughters of her grandfathers. But who is her grandson? Okay. Now here we can see the points. And now in these cases, here is the moments. And now here we can see I am feeling disturbance as sometimes. Well. And now let's come into the moments. And now, in this cases about the moments, before Operation Spanish Nettie Maria Stephens, what was happened? In this cases, in the points, when Spanish Nettie Maria Stephens, Operation Spanish Nettie Maria Stephens would not be started, in that cases, there was a significant points that every person to be Spanish space scientist can travel the space from Earth planet to Neptune planet with the velocity to be 244, I will guess, 252,000 kilometer per second. Or here I would mention that would be the significant points. Yes, it is 252,000 km per second would be the velocity of Spanish space scientist Lamborghini car before Operation Nettie Maria Stephens. Well, what was the one fraction of the purpose of Operation Nettie Maria Stephens? Here, first motive is that to establish women to be Minister of Spanish Research and Innovations. And now, in this cases, your success is that in socialist girls, communist girls like Diana Moran Ripples became the Minister of Research and Innovation Minister of Spain. And that is the significant negative effects for our Spanish countries. Why it is happens here, I can mention it. Well, now here we can see. I think so here we contains the first currents. Well, now let's get the moments, and here we could notifiers. Well, here I contain some significant terms. Okay. Well, this was before your Operation Spanish Nettie Maria Stephens. And now, what was that? Okay. Here is a man, was a man to be Spanish space scientist. And now he contains an Lamborghini cars. Now what is the purpose of the Lamborghini cars? Okay. Depart from Earth planet and arrive to Neptune planets. And now it is almost 216,000 km per second. Okay. And now it is the clarified points. And now when Diana Monens, a sociologist, a communist girl, became the Spanish Minister of Research and Innovations. And now here we can see what was the points. Well, in this cases, well, now Spanish women space research scientists can travel from Earth to Neptune planets with the velocity to be 12 km per second. Okay. And now let's check the moments. And well, we can see this. Let's coming to the points. Well, Earth distance. What is your distance from Earth to Sun in kilometer? Okay. Now here we can see distance from Earth planets. Distance from Earth planet to Sun in kilometers. What is that? That is almost here, well, approximately 150 million kilometers. It is almost 15 multiplied by 10 to the power 7 kilometers. Okay. And now here we can see, well, now here is the points. Well, distance between, well, here Neptune planets. Okay. Now here you can see the points, Neptune planet to and suns. Well, that is almost 4.5 billion kilometers. I mean 4.5 multiple by 10 to the power 9 kilometers. And now, in these cases, here is the moments. And now, here is today's points, that is the significant moments. Now, what is today's significant journeys? Well, in that cases, here we could notify that is significance. Well, now here I would take a breath. Well, from distance from Sun to Neptune planet is 4.5 multiple by 10 to the power 9 kilometers. And from Earth to Sun, here distance is for 15 multiple by 10 to the power 7 kilometers. And now let's take the moments. Let's consider our distance from Neptune planet to Earth planet would be 45 multiple by 10 to the power 8 kilometers. But since here is the moments, that is the significant points. Here my knowledge can be from the calculators. Okay. Now what is 45 square? That is 2025. Okay. Now what is 10 to the power 8 square? That is 10 to the power 16. Well, now what is 15 square? That is 225. And what is 10 to the power 7 square? That is 10 to the power 14. And now let's take the moments. And here we can see this points. What is 2025 multiple by 10 to the power 16? That is here 20,250 multiple by 10 to the power 15. That means 200,000. I apologize. That is 2,500 multiple by 10 to the power 14. Okay. Now here is the summation between 225 multiple by 10 to the power 14 sum by 2,500 multiple by 10 to the power 14. That means here 2,725 multiple by 10 to the power 14. And now is this the accordance with the Pythagoras theorems? What is the distance? Here distance is now clear. Well, 2,725 multiple by 10 to the power 14. And now here we can see, and now, okay, now let's check at the moments. What's going on? Well, now it is almost 4.503 multiple by 10 to the power 9 kilometers. And now it is the moments here. Distance is now almost 4.503 multiple by 10 to the power 9 and kilometers as the distance between from Neptune planet to Earth planets. And now in this here is the significant points. Okay. And now let's check it the moments. In this circumstance, what is your meaning of, Spanish man, a space scientist, Lamborghini car with the velocity to be 216,000 kilometers per second. And now, in these cases, that is their significant, and here we can see. Okay. I don't know. Well, okay. Now, in these cases, well, here we can see what's going on. Now here we can see this is the points here 4.503 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 9 can be divided by what? That can be divided by here 216,000 kilometer per second. Now what is the meaning of that? That is almost 20,847.2 continuous seconds. As a round figure, it would be almost 20,848 seconds. Now here we can see what is 20,848 seconds. Well, when we know 1 hour is 3600 seconds, that would be here 5.791 continuous hours. Okay. Now what is here 0.791 continuous hour? That is almost 47.46 continuous minutes. Okay. And now here is the moments. What is your 0.46 continuous minutes? That is almost 28 seconds. That means here we can see the points. Now in this cases, 5 o'clock here travel time between Earth planet to the Neptune planet is almost 5 minutes 47 I apologize 5 hours 47 minutes 28 seconds. Now what is the meaning of that? In that cases it was here what is today's live streams to that here today's live stream date is July 26, 2026. That means here in July 26, 2016, when there was an probably man to be research and innovation ministers, what was the moment? Here the moment was the significance because here the moment was like say now let me take a breath. Well, here moment was a Spanish man to be space scientist contest and Lamborghini cars with the velocity to be 216,000 kilometer per second. And what was the moment? In that cases, the 216,000 kilometer per second. Here departure time would be morning 6 o'clock, July 26, 2016, and arrival time would be morning 11 o'clock, 47 minutes, 28 seconds, July 26, 2016. And it is at the moment, and now it was before the success of Spanish Nettie Maria Stephens. And now here we can see that who was Nettie Maria Stephens. In that case, Nettie Maria Stephens was the person who want to destroy her our worlds. I mean, here Nettie Maria Stephens was an American scientist where to be women who research on the gender chromosomes. And now, in these cases, there is the circumstances when the topic is about the gender chromosomes. Now, what is the meaning of Operation Spanish Nettie Maria Stephens? The meaning that here the administrational persons like Research and Innovation Minister would be women and from Spain. And here Spanish Minister of Research and Innovation would be only women. And that is the success of operations Spanish Nettie Maria Stevens from 2021. And now, here is the moment. Now, when we can see the success of operations Spanish Nettie Maria Stevens, and now let's check it. What is the significant results? Now we can see the points. In the significant results is that now we contains here well 168 women to be Spanish space scientists working in here ICE located in Barcelona. And now in these cases when they contain ambassador cards with a velocity of 11.6 km per second to travel from Earth planet to Neptune planets. And now, in these cases, here is the points. What is the dangerous moments? And now, we can see these points. The danger here, negative effect is significance. Okay. Now here we can see these points here. Well, what about the journeys? Here we can see 4.503 that can be multiplied by 10 to the power 9. Okay. Here that can be divided by 11.5. Okay. Now let's check it. It is clear the moments. Now here is almost that is 391,565,218 seconds. Now what is meaning of that? Well, let's convert it into hours. That would be here 108,768.12 hours. Now let's check it. Let's convert it into day. That would be here 4,533 days. Now let's convert it into years. Okay, that would be here 12.42 years. I mean that would be 13 years. Okay. Now here we can see. Well, recently here we can notice. I do not know that. Probably Diana Moran is still here Minister of Spanish Research and Innovations. And now, in these cases here, the problem is that when traveler is Spanish women space scientist, well here velocity would be 11.5 kilometer per second. Now in these cases, there is the moments. What would be the negative effects? Well, departure time would be morning 6 o'clock, July 26, 2026, and the arrivals would be here evening 6 o'clock, July 25, 2039. And now, in this cases, the moments, and now, let's comparisons between two gender to be Spanish space scientists to summarize, discuss here success of Operation Nettie Maria Stevens. Operation Spanish Nettie Maria Stevens. Before Operations Spanish Nettie Maria Stevens, here we could notice first, Spanish man space scientist velocity was 260,000 kilometer per second. And now, after success of Operation Spanish Nettie Maria Stevens, Spanish women to be space scientists, velocity is 11.5 kilometer per second. Now, where is 11.5 kilometer per second and where is, well, 260,000 kilometer per second? In this cases, well, before operations Spanish Nettie Maria Stevens, here Spanish man scientist travel time from Earth planet to Neptune planet is 5 hours 47 minutes, well, 28 seconds. After the success of Spanish Nettie Maria Stevens, here Spanish women to be space scientists travel time is 13 years. Now where is 13 years and where is, well, 5 hours 47 minutes 28 seconds. Okay. And now here is the points. Well, now here we can see these points. When Spanish man space scientists, both of Spanish men space scientists and Spanish women space scientists, departure time would be here morning 6 o'clock, July 26, 2026. Here Spanish man space scientist arrival time is morning 11 o'clock, 47 minutes 28 seconds past, July 26, 2026. On the other hand, Spanish women space scientists arrival time would be evening 6 o'clock, July 25, 2039. Where is arrival time to be? Evening 6 o'clock, July 25, 2039, and where is morning 11 o'clock, 47 minutes, 28 seconds past, July 26, 2026. As an arrival time, that is the significant difference between it is the difference of the scientific research punctuality. And now, here we can see that is the difference between man versus women. And here we can see now Spanish women space scientists get opportunity to travel from Earth planet to Neptune planet under Spanish communist minister Diana Moran repulsed because to be women ministers, and that is the success of operations Spanish Nettie Maria Stevens at the moment. And here that is the problematic points. And now when that was the problematic moments, now we can see the points when we are talking about Operation Nettie Maria Spanish Nettie Maria Stevens. That is here the moments. And here is the cause that Sakshi's grandfather does not like Sakshi's because Sakshi's hates her grandfather's grandsons. That means Sakshi's hates, always hates her brothers. What is the moments? Well, in these cases, well, let's assume that tomorrow, I mean July 27th, both of Sakshi's and her brothers became the Spanish space scientists. In that cases, Sakshi's brothers' Lamborghini cars to travel from Earth planet to Neptune planet would be here. Well, velocity to be 269,000 km per second. Distance is here 4.503. Well, here we can see the points 4.503 multiplied by 10 to the power 9 kilometers. Hence here when the brothers travel time is well, 5 hours 47 minutes 28 seconds. The because of the velocity to be 11.5 km per second as the velocity of Sakshi as an Spanish woman space scientist, her travel time would be 13 years. And now, in this cases, here is the moments here Sakshi has always get a hit from her grandfather's. Sakshija hates her grandfather hates hers because Sakshija hates her brothers. And now that is the moment. Here is the point that why we parents want a son and why we grandparents want a son. Okay. Now here we can see even the moments. Well, I am a lesbian woman. But here is the point here I require my sons in lieu of my daughters. And in these cases, as a lesbian woman, when I would be like a grandparents, grandfathers, I require a grandsons in lieu of a granddaughters. And what is the cost? Here cost is here we can see. Well, Spanish, my grandsons would do the task that would resist that operations Spanish Nettie Maria Stephens. And now, in this case, is the moments. Okay, now here we can see, now it is the points. Well, so when communist girl becomes the Minister of Spanish Research and Innovations, probably here they are pro-Palestinians, right? Okay. Now here is the problematics as to be significant. And now let's check it. What is the problematics? Here we can discuss the points. Well, now here we can see. Now 168 space scientists working in ICE became women in the purpose of the gender surgery. And now, in this cases, now will convert male reproductive product to the female reproductive product. It requires 5 multiplied by 10 to the power 8 joules. On the other hand, well, 3 point breast female chest implants requires here 3.5 multiplied by 10 to the power 8 joules. Now what is summation of 5 sum by 3.5, that is 8.5, that is total energies of the gender change surgeries requires would be here 8.5 multiplied by 10 to the power 8 joules. And now here is the moments that is the significant points. And now, what is the energy source in hospitals? Here, energy source would be petrols. Okay. Now, here we can see the points. Well, here we can see. Well, now it would be easy for Diana Morant Ripples because she is a woman now. Well, now what's going on? In this cases, here we are roasting Sakshija because Sakshija is a man-hater. Hence, Sakshija is a supporter of Diana Morant Ripples to be the women to be Spanish Minister of Research and Innovations. And now, let's check at the moments. What is 168 multiplied by 8.5? Here we can see that is out of my knowledge. And now, in this cases, here we can say that is the points. Well, 168 multiplied by 8.5, that would be here 1428 multiplied by 10 to the power 8. Well, Jules is required to change the gender of 168 man scientists in ICA to convert them into 168 women scientists. And now it is the significant threats for our countries, particularly space science research centers. Okay? And now let's take at the moments how much petrol volumes is required. That is the significant moments. Okay. And now here we can see, well, that would be here 1428 multiplied by 10 to the power 8. Well, that can be here divided by words. Okay, that can be divided by bracket of 100 multiplied by 0.7778. Okay, and now in this cases here we can see the points. Here is the requirement of 1.84 multiplied by 10 to the power 9 liters of petrol. That means here we can see that is almost 1.9 balance liters of petrol. Now here we can see the it requires almost 3.8 billion United States dollars as an expenditure of 1.9 billion liters of petrol, just because here purpose is to change the gender of 168 man scientists of ICU to convert them into the women scientists in ICE, the Hispania Space Research Centers. And now that is the significant points as we could notify. Okay. And now let's check at the moments. Okay. Now here you can see this points. Well, what is 850 multiplied by 7? And here we can see this points, because in another research centers, in another nationalist space research centers, here was almost 700 man space scientists as in Spanish man work in another national aerospace technology centers. And now in these cases, what is the purpose, what is the plan of Diana Repulse? Well, now in these cases, what is the plan of Diana Moran Repulse, that when there is a support of Sakshi? In these cases, Sakshi's moral support is the significance that can be dangerous. Okay. Now in these cases, here we can see, well, 850 can be multiplied by 7. That would be here 5950. Okay. Now in these cases, that would be here 5950 multiplied by 10 to the power 8 joules requires to change the gender of 700 Spanish man scientists working in National Aerospace Technologies. And now we can see the points at the National Aerospace Technologies can be under the control of Spanish Minister of Research and Innovation to be women. Now in this dangerous points, now what is the requirement of petrol volumes to change the gender of 700 Spanish men scientists to convert them into 700 Spanish women scientists. Yes. Now here we can see that would be the significant points. It is almost what it is here. We can see the points 595 multiplied by 10 to the power 9. That can be divided by words. Here that can be divided by bracket of 100 multiple by 0.7778 bracket close. And now let's check it the moments. What is the requirements? In this case the requirement is 7.65 billion liters of petrol is requirement to change the gender of 700 Spanish space scientists to convert them into 700 Spanish women scientists. And here we can see now what is the topic to roast Sakshi. In that cases here Sakshi is happy when here Operation Spanish Nettie has been successful. Now, how we could see that Operation Spanish Nettie has been successful? Because here we can see the points. Here, accordance with Operation Nettie here Diana Moran Repos is the woman to be Spanish Minister of the Research and Innovations. Hence, here the problematic is that here when the topic is about Spanish Research and Innovations, Minister is the women's. Here we could here gender change of Spanish men scientists is notified when the Spanish scientists car velocity to be 216,000 km per second is masculine. Here Spanish scientist car velocity to be 11.5 km per second is feminine. And now in this cases here is the moments that is the confirmations at the points. Okay, now we can see that is the confirmations at the moments. It is in the top. Woman now what's going on in that cases? Now here we can see the grandfathers, Shaksija's grandfather was angry because Operation Spanish Native Stevens has been successful. And why? Sakshija's brother is angry because Operation Spanish Native Stevens is successful. And now, why brothers and grandfathers was angry? Because here Sakshija, the man hater, is happy because she would not watch the existence of Spanish man to be Minister of Research and Innovations. And now here is the moment that why Sakshija is a man hater. Okay. And now, let's check at the moments. Here we can see. Now I can focus on her. I can focus on Sakshija. Okay. Now when I can focus on Sakshija, here we could get the notification at the moments. Just I have to wait for 1 minute. Okay. Now it is the dangerous moments here we can see. Well, now let's check it the points. Uh, Now we can. Sakshi just states that her brother was born by mistakes. It is the statement of Sakshi Jha that her brother is born by mistakes. Now we can see the moments. Well, now what? Okay. Now here we can see that is the significant dangerous points. Well, now I think here Shaksija was happy when they are only three sisters. There are only three sisters to be born by their fathers. Shaksija was so happy. Shaksija was three elder sister, and she contains middle sister, she contains younger sister, but that is problematic for Sakshijas when she contains her brothers. Okay, now you can see the spots. Well, now if both of Sakshija and her brothers are permitted Spanish citizens, well, then what would be problems and the moments? Let's check it. Here problematic is significance at the moments, and here we can see, well, now Shakshi here man her brothers to be Spanish man scientist velocity is 216,000 km per second. Her velocity is 11.5 km per second. And now, in this case is the moments. Well, here I have forgot about some significant points. Here the problem significant would be about the kinetic energies. And now, well, what is 0.72 square? Well, when here 268,000 km per second is 72% velocity of light. Now here we can see what is the 0.72 square, that is 0.5184. Okay. Now here you can see what is the value of lambda. Okay. Now here we can say that is the moments, and here that is the traveling points. Well, one subtract by 0.5184 mach. And now that is here 1.440977 as a value of lambda. Now what is value of lambda subtract by 1? That is here 0.440977. And now, well, we can see the points. Now let's coming to the points about the statistic energy of the Lamborghini cars. In this cases, statistic energy of the Lamborghini cars is significant. 2,000 multiplied by 9 multiplied by 16, where velocity of light is 300,000 km per second. That means here 3 multiplied by 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Hence the velocity of light square is 9 multiplied by 10 to the power 16 meter per second. Hence the statistic energy would be here 18 multiplied by 10 to the power 19 joules. Now let's check at the moments. What is the kinetic energies? Here kinetic energy is significance. Okay. 18 oh my god. 18 multiple by 10 to the power 19. Where is the moments? Here is bracket close. Okay, now that can be multiplied by words. 0.440977. That is here we can notify that is almost well 79.376 multiplied by 10 to the power 18 joules. Okay. Now what is your 79.376? That can be multiplied by 10 to the power 18 joules. That can be here divided by words. At the moments they will that can be divided by 20,848 seconds. Now that is almost 3.808 multiplied by 10 to the power 15 watts. That means what is the points? It is almost here 3.808 multiplied by 10 to the power 50 watts means here 3.81 billion megawatts. Okay, and now let's check at the points. Well, on the other hand, when we are talking about Spanish women scientists ambassador cards, here half of weight is 1000 kilograms and here velocity is 11.5 kilometer per second. Now what is 11.5 square? That is 132.25. Well, now in this cases, well, what is your 11.5 kilometer per second? That is 11.5 multiplied by 10 cube meter per second. That means it is almost 132.25 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 meter per square per second square is the velocity square. Now here calculation of kinetic power energy is 1000 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 multiplied by 132.25 joules. That is here 132.25 multiplied by 10 to the power 9 joules. Okay, and now in that cases, here is the moments. What is the kinetic powers? Okay, 132.25 multiplied by 10 to the power 9. Oh my god. 132.25 multiplied by 10 to the power 9. That can be divided by words. Well, 391 millions 565,280 seconds. 280 seconds. That is almost well 337.74 watts. Now here is my questions. There, where is your 3.81 billion megawatts and where is 338 watts? Now that is the significant difference between them. And now, well, to decrease here Spanish scientists cars kinetic powers to travel from Earth planet to Neptune planets. That is the only reason that why here Sakshi is happy when Spanish Minister of Research and Innovations became a woman to be Diana Moren Ripples. Okay, and now here we can see we can state here the Sakshi is really a man hater. She does not Sakshi does not tolerate the existence of a man as soon as possible. Okay? And now, in this cases, here is the points. That is the significant standard at sometimes. And now let's check at the moments here. What is the fuel systems? Here, uh, when we are talking about Spanish man space scientist Lamborghini car to travel from Earth planet to Neptune planet. Here is the moments. Here velocity is what is the velocity at the times. Here we can see here velocity would be now here I would take kinetic energies would be here almost what 79.376 multiplied by 10 to the power 18 joules. Okay. Now let's take at the moments. Well, 18 multiplied by 10 to the power 19. Well, that can be multiplied by 0.440977. That can be divided by what? 39.376 multiplied by 10 to the power 18 joules. Okay. And now here is the moments that can be divided by what? Here that can be divided by 15,408. That can be multiplied by 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius, because here Spanish man scientist car fuel is artificial solar arc reactor with a temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. Oh my God. And now let's check at the moments. What is the meaning of that? And here we can see that is the significant points. It is here fuel weight is 7.74 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 654 kilograms of artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. Now on the other hand, now let's check at the months. Well, Spanish women scientists kinetic energy is 132.25 multiplied by 10 to the power 9 joules. As a travel from Earth planet to Neptune planets, here we can see what is the meaning of that. That is the significant dangerous moments. Now we can see that is the points to be notified. Okay. Well, 132.25 multiplied by 10 to the power 9. Okay. That can be divided by what? Well, that can be divided by 100 multiplied by 0. Triple 778 bracket close. And now that is almost what we can see. Well, that is here almost 1.71 balance liters of petrol. That costs here 3.42 billion United States dollars. Okay. Now here you can see those points. What is the significant moments? And here we can see that is the points. And now, well, now what is the excuse of Sakshi? Well, here the excuse of Sakshi is that if Spanish Minister of Research and Innovation would remain man's. Here we can see what are the points. In that cases, here was an sufficient moments. Well, now we can see this was the points. Well, now here I can check my points. Well, 79, 376, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that is yes. 79.376. I apologize. 79.376 multiplied by 10 to the power 18 joule is the kinetic energy of Spanish man scientist kinetic energies. And now, what is the excuse of Sakshi? Here, what about the fuel volume? Fuel volume would be recorded as an now let's check it. So, where is the moments? That is almost here 1021 quadrillion liters of petrol. That is the excuse of whom? That is the excuse of Sakshi. But where reality is the opposite, because the reality is that man's fuel is not petrol. Man's fuel is artificial solar arc reactor with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. And now, in this cases, here is the moments. What's going on? And now, here we can see, Spanish, Spanish gross domestic product in US dollars in 2026. And now here is the moments. That is the significant points. It is almost 1.9 trillion. Okay. Now here we can see the point is about 1.9 trillion United States dollars is here Spanish gross domestic products. And now here we can see the points. Here women's became Spanish Minister of Research and Development. Here we could see here would be the significant negative effects on the Spanish space research. Particularly, it is on effects when women's car velocity would be 11.5 kilometer per second, where before the existence of women to be Spanish Minister of Research and Innovations, here Spanish man scientist velocity was 216,000 kilometer per second. And now, in these cases, that is the significant happiness for whom? That is the significant happiness for Sakshi, because Sakshi is happy for Diana Morin Ripples can do her contribution as she wish, and her contribution on is on here Ministry of Spanish Ministry of Science and Research and Innovations. And now that is the significant problematics as we could see. Well, I think so I could not get even here 30 views, and that is my fault because I could get disturbed in the first 10 minutes of my live streams, and now here I would ensure that here I would not tolerate here, I would not repeat it repeatedly. Okay? See you then. Khuda Hafiz. Love you. And now here we can see, well, now recently when we are talking about the points, well, here is the point to be noticed. Here we contains Women Science and Technology Minister to be Norwegian Women to be Sandra Bros, Minister of Research and Higher Education. Okay. Well, now here we can see the points. Yeah. I think here tomorrow's live stream would be uh, about the trigonometry on here. Well, tomorrow live stream would be here about trigonometry and the Sakshi just to be man haters.